This animal was born last year, and just absolutely mind-blowing. And again, just really lucky to work with these animals. Hi, my name is Chris Rice from Wakaiba Herpetoculture, and I'm here to show off some of my northern emerald tree boa project. I'm working with these amazing animals for the last about 6 or 7 years now. I have a lot of nice captive bred babies that I've produced, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get into it now. Here we have a large adult female northern emerald tree boa named White Rose. It's a very high white, very beautiful animal, and pretty mellow overall. She gave birth to her first litter here last year, and she had a litter of 12 healthy babies, and I think it was 2 slugs. The young adult male northern emerald tree boa, and you can see the variety here again with the phenotypes, and he's a lighter green color with a lot of yellow on the sides and strong on the face and really over the whole body. Just a very amazing animal, very mellow as well, and he's sired 3 litters here so far. Here we have a young adult patternless phenotype northern emerald tree boa. You can see that there's some similarity with the anaconda phase and the way that they look, but overall, even though there's a lot of confusion, it seems, within the community about what's a patternless versus what's an anaconda phase, to me they're fairly distinct. As you can see on the body of this animal, most of the body has no pattern at all. There's some pattern on the neck, and there's a couple of blotches here and there, but it's generally a clean, patternless body throughout the entire animal, whereas the anaconda phase have pattern across their entire body. Sometimes it can be very faint, sometimes it can be very bold. The dark coloration pattern is still present across the whole body, whereas the patternless has large portions of the body that are just clean without any pattern whatsoever. Here we have an adult female anaconda phase phenotype northern emerald tree boa. It's mamaconda, and she's given birth to 2 litters here so far, 2022 and again in last year in 2024. And she's produced quite a few anaconda phase babies and normal. This is an adult male northern emerald named Larry. He has sired a total of 5 litters here over the years. Really awesome animal, one of my favorite snakes. Just mellow, nice white, just gorgeous coloration, good attitude. Although this year has been interesting in that this is the first time I've observed him get kind of defensive and a little bit territorial, you know, when I'm getting near a cage that he's in with a female. He's kind of bucked up a few times like he's going to do something, but he's never actually struck or bit. He just kind of gets irritated. Continuing to show the wide variation in phenotypes in the northern emeralds, here we have a darker, kind of more wild type looking animal with unique head scales, a little bit like some of the wild type Amazon basins, but just a unique animal overall. This is another beautiful adult female anaconda phase phenotype, northern emerald tree boa named Big Dottie. Had her first litter here last year, and for first time mother, she did a great job. She actually had a perfect litter of 13 strong, live, healthy babies and 0 slugs. And this was kind of an interesting situation because it occurred while a hurricane was heading to Florida, and ended up hitting Florida. It didn't hit Central Florida as bad, but it did seem to kind of delay her birth by about a week potentially, so kind of an interesting observation. Okay, and this is a just absolutely incredible adult female northern emerald tree boa named Artemis. It's the snake that actually started it all for me with this project when I first acquired her back in April of 2019. I quickly became really enamored with this species and knew this is where my focus should be. And you can see why. Just an amazing animal with a bold yellow up the sides and rich dark green coloration. And of course, you know, she's got the nice big bold white markings on the body. Just basically everything you'd want to see in an awesome emerald tree boa. Also the mother of the first litter that I produced here in 2021, so she's just a very special snake. Here we have another adult female anaconda phase phenotype. Again, showing some of the variety here. She's got a more busy pattern overall, some bold markings there. Just a beautiful animal. So this is a pretty typical setup that I'll do for the adults here. You can see there's lots of cross branches for them to crawl around through and perch on. So some of the enclosures will have more or less branches and leaves and things in there, and that tends to be related to the activity of the animal. So White Rose here rarely ever knocks anything down or messes things up, so she usually just maintains the branches as is, whereas, you know, this is an active breeding pair, and I tend to remove more of the perches and things when you have an active breeding pair, just to prevent them getting really tangled up and, you know, ending up knocking a perch down. I have had situations where an active breeding pair knocked a perch down and fell off, and thankfully there was no injuries, but so now I just try to kind of minimize the chances of that happening. So one of the many interesting things about emerald tree boas is that they give live birth, And I've witnessed most of the births here over the last few seasons and been able to document them. And one of the observations I've seen is that it appears to be, not always, but a lot of times it seems like the females do this behavior that you see here where it looks like they're aiming the baby so that they can grab onto a branch or a vine, you know, as soon as they're born right away. That's not always the case, but it appears to be what they try to do most of the time. That said, sometimes they just kind of drop with a splat to the ground, and it's a little harsh looking, but they're fine either way. But it does seem like the mothers have the sense to try to aim them so that they can immediately, grab onto something. So here was a really cool moment of a couple of babies crawling around on the mother's head shortly after birth. Sometimes the mothers seem to get pretty annoyed by the babies kind of crawling all over them, and it could be pretty comical, but most of the time they're not really too bothered by them. Here we just see some more babies, being born and crawling around in the enclosure shortly after birth here. Here's a little baby kind of crawling up from the floor to the branches, and you can see how worn out the mother looks there. It's very taxing on them. And here's another live birth. This is a red anaconda phase neonate being born. And you can see right next to it is another green neonate that was just born probably a minute earlier. One thing that's been interesting to observe is a lot of times the babies are born kind of in rapid succession. 1 or 2 or 3 sometimes in a row will be born, and then there might not be any more for a couple of minutes or so, and then another boom 1 or 2. So it's definitely been cool to watch. The litter from last year, that was a mixed litter of normal and anaconda phase babies, and it was really quite a sight to see because it was just so much variety within a single litter. Reds, greens, some high white, some low white, some anaconda phase, and even within those phenotypes, quite a lot of variety, as you can see, in how they look. Really a special day to see all these babies curled up. Once they've been pulled out of the tub after being born, they're typically put in to a single tub or enclosure together for a little while for the first couple of days. Some people leave them together until they shed. Some people separate them into their individual tubs before they shed. But either way, usually they're kept together for the first few days, and it's really important to keep them really well hydrated and very humid throughout this first period so that they have a nice, good, clean first shed. Baby emerald tree boas can be born red or green. While red seems to be more common, green's not too rare. I've produced quite a few of them so far, and we're still trying to figure out how the genetics work there. But you can see the baby on the right is starting to go through its color change and develop the green, whereas the one on the left is already green, of course, because it was born that way. But that color will change a bit and get darker green with time. And as adults, they'll look mostly indistinguishable from each other. Here we have 2 amazing anaconda phase juveniles from the same litter. Of course, the baby on the right was born green, whereas the baby on the left was born red, and is now this kind of really nice orangish color as it's going through its color change here. This is a first generation captive bred animal I produced in 2023, and it's a very high yellow individual, part of the high yellow project I'm working on, and it's retaining that yellow so far and looking great. I think it's going to be an amazing adult. It's an exciting project. This is another first generation captive bred animal I produced back in 2023 from parents Tane and Amarella, which both have a good amount of yellow in their pattern and size of the body, and it seems to be picked up in their offspring. So definitely excited to watch these babies grow up and see them as adults. Here's another really awesome juvenile that was born here last year from White Rose. Just a stunning animal, gorgeous high yellow, high white, bold pattern. Definitely going to be a killer adult. This is one of my favorite emeralds that I've produced so far. It's just a beautiful animal. Nice bold pattern, high white, high yellow. This was born from White Rose, which is a gorgeous adult female, high white animal. And I think this is just going to be an amazing adult, and really can't wait to see how this one looks in a few more years. This is another first generation captive bred animal I produced in 2023 from parents Tane and Amarella. The bold pattern, I think it's just going to look amazing as an adult. This is Uno, a first generation captive bred male that I held back from my very first litter here in December 2021. So he was born to parents Larry and Artemis. And I think he's going to look a lot like his mother once he gets a little older and the green gets darker and richer. He's always going to be a special snake since it was such a big milestone to get that first litter, and he was my pick of the litter. Here's another just killer red neonate anaconda phase northern that was produced here last year. Starting to go through color change to green, and just get all sorts of, bright, beautiful colors that come out during this color change. This is one of the most beautiful anaconda phase juveniles that I've produced so far. This animal was born last year, and just absolutely mind-blowing. And again, just really lucky to work with these animals. Some juvenile anaconda phase that's midway through color change here. This is a first generation captive bred anaconda phase that I produced here back in December 2022. It's one of the first anaconda phase I produced, and it's still one of my favorites. This is an interesting animal that I produced in 2022 from an anaconda phase pairing. I named it Not Sure because it looks half and half. The back half looks, quite high white. You can see all those circles. It's quite like a normal northern pattern, but then the front half looks similar to an anaconda phase. So I'm not sure exactly what the situation is with it, but it's an interesting, cool looking animal regardless. All right, I just want to say thanks to MorphMarket for the opportunity to let me show off some of these amazing animals that I've been working with here with these northern emeralds. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch, learn a little bit more about the species, and see all the amazing colors and phenotypes that are available with these really, really amazing species. So thanks again.